Hello, everybody, and we're here with another one of your favorite episodes of No Joke. Hi, Marcus. How are you doing?
Hey Amos, I'm doing great. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to
And
you and
of
everybody who's watching.
course, thank you. And of course, yes, Happy New Year to you all. And I'm very sorry that I could not provide you a more enthusiastic card for the first show in the year, but it is like it is, and well. Let's see who we have. Melissa H. here. Hopefully, you have the time to join us and watch our show. 3 inches of snow. Well, here in Germany, at this place where I am, we got nothing, but we also got snow in other parts of Germany. And the people are so crazy, they are running out and they are going there and enjoying their time, all in a crowd. And yes, and well, it's crazy. Crazy people everywhere. And well, I'm happy that I'm with sane people right now. Right, Amos?
Yep.
All right. Let's see who's there. Melissa H., as I said. And of course, we need the help of Jesus, and he's with us. Hey, Jesus. We got Juliet Nickel with us. We got John. We got Cyrus. We got Phil Britton. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Right. Well, let's get into this and let's have a look at what we have for today. Of course, we will talk about Force the Vote, the town hall, and yeah, some reactions. And honestly, Amos and I, we should have aired this. To be honest, we had a very deep discussion already. I think it was more than half an hour already before, and very interesting points. And I hope you'll enjoy this, and I hope you will also tell us what you think, because your opinion is also very important in this,
It
right?
was a rehearsal, Marcus.
It kind of, yeah. Well, and of course, and I hope when I come to this, you will have a good seat, because what you will see is, I think, is for many of you quite unbelievable. We are talking about Germany and when Germany got healthcare, and more importantly, why Germany got healthcare in 1883. Well, Amos will take us to new insights what the COVID-19 virus concerns, and there are also failures in it, as we will learn. Um, yes, we will address our card today. Mitch McConnell, unbelievable, he cheats on the most admired person of the year. Who that is, we will unveil this later. Well, I'm pretty sure you already know who it is. Anyway, Amos will address another serious thing. He will talk about Andrew Hill and what happened. And yes. All right, we got a little bit shortcuts. We will talk about the most admired men and the most admired women. Yes, and that's our show for today. And yeah, let's open it with Force the Vote. This is a card we are using already for the third week in a row. And well, I think most of you watched the town hall, the Brianna Joy Gray, Jimmy Dore, and others hosted. And I got to say, from what I saw there, it was disappointing. It was very disappointing that they said in the show that everyone of those who were invited got informed. They got the invitation officially, and there was absolutely no reaction. This was disappointing for representatives, who should represent the voters' will, and nothing happened. No reaction. This was the first thing, which was very disappointing to see. It was a very interesting show, and honestly, it was in parts it was a heartbreaking show. We all know that John Marie Mann, for example, had very big problems in the past with her eyes, and I was aware of this, but I was not aware at what extent this sickness caused in her, what situation it caused, and it was heartbreaking to see. And yes, it was only one example from many. We also saw Scott Denoyer, who talked about his son who killed himself, that he glued his seatbelt and drove his truck into a river and drowned himself. And if you listen, and we will talk, let's run the videos first, please. Amos. Let's start with this was the introduction video of Joy Marie when Jimmy Dore called up, to send the stories of those who are suffering. And yeah, please roll it and let's watch it.
Hey, my name is Joy Marie Mann, otherwise known as Savage Joy. Some of you may be familiar with what I am dealing with, but in 2019, I unexpectedly woke up with a lot of my eyesight gone, and I, of course, was traumatized by it, and I went to the hospital and was diagnosed with something called myopic degeneration. Since then, I have also had a detached retina, cataracts, and other issues. I've had recently 2 eye surgeries. My vision, of course, 2020 is ideal. My vision is 2400. I cannot drive. I have difficulty with a lot of things. I will have to start using a cane. And I get eye injections every month, every 30 days. Each eye is over $12,000. Even with insurance, I am thousands of dollars in medical debt. I will have this for the rest of my life. It will never get better. And the eye injections are solely to try to save what very little sight I have left. Medicare for All would change my life in so many ways. So, yeah, you're damn right. I expect people who we fought to get elected as activists to be activists. I am not alone. I am one of millions who are unexpectedly disabled, lost their job because of it, and have mounting medical bills because of it. The trauma of becoming disabled is bad enough, but to put all of these things on top of it is nothing more than violence. It is violence. So yeah, force the fucking vote.
Yeah. It is moving to see this, and it is not a violent system; it's a barbaric system. Even in pagan Rome, you got panem et circenses, bread and games. You don't even get crumbs from your governments so far. And some of us may remember this once when Amy Villela was running for office in Nevada. We interviewed her and we learned her story. And I also wanna memorize what's happened there. Please roll this one.
When you're running for office and you're not, a typical candidate, you have to remember your why. Why are you doing it? I remember actually the day I put this down here. It would have been 2 years ago. And it seems like decades ago. And at that point, I was so lost. There's 30,000 people a year dying because they don't have health care. because the CFOs that work in that field are sitting there figuring out ways to make optimum profit for their shareholders. This is a commodity. My daughter's life wasn't. Now that my eyes are open, I cannot and I will not close them again. I will never stop grieving for Shalyn. But I have learned how to take that grief and to put it into action.
Thank you.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're in this together, girl. We all handle it differently. A lot of grieving parents that I've been in contact with, this are like really shocked that I'm able to do as much as I'm doing. For me, it's how can I not? I'm not going to allow my daughter to have died for nothing.
Yeah.
Gut trenching.
It is crazy, and if you see the complete story of what Scott Denoyer, I hope I pronounce it correctly, told on the town hall, here's a short extract. Please run it.
Who can say they lost their kid because he didn't pay $20? How is that not enough fuel for anybody's fire?
As you can see, every single picture, there's a smile on. You can see he's where he wants to be. Always out in the woods, always playing with wildlife. He said that when he's gone, this is before he knew he had this many problems, that when he's gone, he wants to be put back in nature. It's where he was happy. When I finally got down there, what was left for me to see is a tire track on the curb. A pile of mud where his truck was pulled out. He was told that his medication was $250 out of pocket to pay for it. We don't have $250. We never have $250 extra. He had problems, yes. Who doesn't? We all have problems. Doesn't mean it's a death sentence, or shouldn't be a death sentence. He was working on his problems. He was doing what we're told that we're supposed to do with these problems.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And that's what I was saying. He was doing better. Last month, my 29-year-old son tried to get his prescription filled for his depression when he learned he missed a $20 new charge and had to wait a month for his plan to kick back in. He's dead now from suicide. $20 fucking dollars. I'm devastated and can hardly breathe. What the fuck?
What the fuck? For a handful of dollars, right? It's unbelievable, and I'm pretty sure that you all know the story, Jimmy, a door experience. You know, when he got for 4 years misdiagnosed, and he and his wife went bankrupt. He was suicidal, and well, and this is something we I never was aware of. This is also a consequence of not having a good universal health care or a Medicare for all system. I never thought about this, but this came into my mind when I heard what Scott says, right? When he talked about his son, that he took his life, and I thought to myself, hold on. I heard the same thing from Joy Marie before, that she was praying that she was saying that at some nights she prayed that she would not wake up anymore the next morning. And I started to check it, and it was absolutely crazy to see, that people who are in a very deep life crisis and need help in the first place, even more when they have suicidal tendencies because of all this crap, and then they get into rehabilitation, they get home, and after the rehabilitation program is over, they get a bill with thousands of dollars they owe for the rehabilitation. I think this is a travesty. This is the maximum of cynicism in my opinion. And the article, I found this article here in Elemental. There's, if you see this, financial struggle is my biggest anxiety trigger. So being traumatized and then being billed for it puts you in an awful place of mind where you feel worthless. This is exactly the point. And when the author Marisa Evans talked to other patients, they said some say the mounting medical debt has made them consider suicide again. How on God's earth is this any logic? It is inhumane, barbaric, and anyone who does not push to change this situation. And we heard about Joy, we heard about Amy Villela, we heard about Scott, we know about Jimmy. These are only four people we learned to know in the last couple of days what was really going on. Maybe some cases maybe longer. But if you add this up, these are only 4 cases. It is the absolute order to do anything possible to force the vote.
And what's worse, Marcus, is that some of these people who try to commit suicide and are unsuccessful and are restored to life, then have adding insult to injury, they're being charged for medical bills that they could never ever hope to repay for saving their lives. So it's a slap in the face with somebody who's at the point where they're willing to give up life, and then they're not allowed to die, and instead they're charged with additional.
Yes. And in what parallel universe does it help your recovery, knowing that at home, if you're in a hospital or something like this, at home in your letterbox you have such a staple with bills you never can pay? It makes no sense at all. It makes only sense for those, yes, who got their ass wiped, who got the platinum healthcare system, who don't have to care. Of course, they get the best medical treatment available. Of course, but this doesn't help America, and I mean America as a general, the American people. If you gotta stop this, only the 1% get everything, and you don't even get crumbs. You gotta stop this. And everyone who is hesitant or who is opposing this movement, and it is a movement. If you look at the polls in every party affiliated group, it is clearly everyone wants Medicare for all. The majority wants it. And if I look And this was the second thing, which was very, very disappointing, though I didn't expect much from him, was Cenk Uyghur's reaction to this. And if you can show him, yes. And now show his tweet, please. So, his take from what we saw on the town hall, at the town hall. We saw Joy Marie, we saw Scott, we heard Jimmy's story. His only take is that he's putting his ego in front for his private war with Jimmy Dore, and comes to the conclusion they have a fine strategy that is slightly mistimed. Tell this, Cenk Uyghur, tell this to Joy Marie, tell it to her face. Every surgery of her eyes would cost $12,000. Tell this to Joy Marie. Mistimed. This is bullshit. It's not mistimed. It's... And now we are slightly coming to the next segment. It's absolutely the time compared to Germany. If you, oh, hold on, we will do this later. Okay, now come to Germany, please, before we go on. Not the German part. 21, please. If you look at Germany, we have now 2021. Yes, that's correct. We have now 2021. And look at those guys there. This is the Reichschancellor Otto von Bismarck. And you have the emperor, the German emperor at that time, Wilhelm I. Those guys gave Germany the first healthcare insurance. Crazy, huh? If you look at the next slide, and they are bragging with it. The German social insurance, best in the world, unreached. It included healthcare, veterans care, if you want so. It has also pension in it for those who retired from work, and also for those for people who died, for the families who were left. Well, it was the greatest thing on earth for them. But of course, and now here's the story behind it. It was not so that they did it because they loved the people so much, They did it for one simple reason. They were afraid. They feared the masses would roll over them and take them out. Because at that time, we are in the industrial era, there was a lot of work. It was work en masse. And you will see the differences and also the similarities in it. A lot of work and a lot of workers, but underpaid, of course, no healthcare, no nothing. The working week was 6 days, 12 hours, and no rights at all. And then the workers start to organize. The Social Democratic Party, what was founded at that time, the eldest party here in Germany we have, still existing. The workers organized, and they founded unions. The unions got stronger, which caused that the emperor, who hated the Social Democrats, of course they were hated. He ordered that the Social Democrats and everyone who is in the socialistic movement active should be banned somehow from the activities. So it was forbidden for Social Democrats and others to gather in gatherings and stuff, but they were still valid to run at elections. And they got more and more powerful. And then the emperor and the Reichskanzler saw they had no other opportunity, because the pressure got so strong on them, to give the people something. Also to prevent that the Social Democrats would take over the parliament at some day. They were afraid to lose everything. So, and this is the thing, I hope you are sitting, this is the thing they came up with. This is the first state health insurance, and it covered free treatment, doctor of your choice, free medication, free smaller cures and therapies, sick pay starting on the third day of sickness. At that time, it was 50% of the wages. And there are the sources different. The sources differ. Maximum to 20 weeks or 13 weeks. Women who gave birth, 4 weeks support for women in childbed, and a death grant of 20 times of the wage. And this was the first one, right? Wouldn't you love to take this? Wouldn't you love to have already this, which was only the first thing, the first official issuing of the state health insurance?
Where do I sign up?
In 1883. And now look where you are in America. In 2021. Nothing. That means, in conclusion, in Germany, it worked because of the pressure. There was enough work, etc. This is the difference, you know. But in the end, it's the anger and the fear which moved them. And here, I absolutely agree with Jimmy Dore. Those people who you elect, they are not your friends. They are your servants. And Nina Turner also addresses to this. They shouldn't forget that they are servants. And they are sent with a certain order to fulfill. And if they don't do this, they got to get out. They got to get pressure. And if they still don't move, they got to get out. And we have we had a nice talk before the show about about the position of Nina Turner in this. And this is also very interesting. Okay. Please, let's start with the interview she gave at Rising with Crystal Ball.
Do you think that using tools like being willing to withhold your vote for Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, should be on the table?
All tools should be on the table, Crystal. And I definitely lean to the wisdom of my colleagues who are. When it comes to the level of suffering that people are feeling, I mean, real pain, eviction, being food insecure. People in my district experience that just like other people all across this country. This is real. This is no time to play games. This is time to use the full force and weight of the people's power to serve them. This is about service. And so often people forget that those positions are about service, that when we are blessed enough to hold that power for however long we hold it, we are holding the people's power and should always do their bidding. And that measure should be based on those who are suffering the most. So all tools should be on the table.
All right. Okay. Okay. Let's take my take first, and then we run the second video, and then I think Amos will take over. I think she clearly she's not in the position yet to tell people in the House what to do because she's not elected yet. But she, in my opinion, she clearly hints what they should do, and they should remember who they serve, right? And if I combine this with her last line in which she says all tools are on the table, it is clearly, I think it's clearly a sign for me in the direction that force the vote should be executed. And now I think we should run the second clip, and let's hear what Amos has to say.
Progressives are standing in that ready position to help to deliver an America as good as its promise. So whether it's now or soon, and that's why I'm trying not to second guess them, because I don't know what's going into their thinking. I don't want people to give up on them just because they might not necessarily be answering that call right this minute. There's still time to push neoliberals and more moderates to do the right thing. And when the Progressive Caucus decides to do that, we must ready ourselves to know that when you make a demand, there has to be a consequence to that demand. And I think that's what people out on the activist side is saying: make the demand and then make sure that there's a consequence for it. I will. God, I don't even necessarily want to say be patient, because even Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said wait almost means never. It's just I'm trying to be strategic in what I'm saying, not in terms of being misinterpreted, but just because I have served inside bodies before. And a lot of times what people think they know, they don't really know. That's why I'm trying to just kind of be a little more open to what may or may not be happening. But there is going to come a point. To answer your question directly, I have proven myself to bump against even county reform in Cuyahoga County and Bridger. I don't even know if you remember that or not, but that was something that the Democratic Party did not support. We had corruption in Cuyahoga County at the hands of Democrats, and the people wanted to see something different. And I bumped up against the party. I bumped up against even leaders in the Black community on this, and the issue passed. So that is by way of example. I do not shrink from standing up when I think is right and good, what I think is in the best interest of people. And that will not change if or when, I want to say when I get to Congress. But I do want people that just have a little more mercy, not necessarily wait in the sense of you need to wait a long time, but just to have a little more patience. And let's see what's going to happen moving forward. But the reason why we need activists out there is to push elected officials. That's what we need. We need the grassroots making the demand, and that is exactly what people are out there doing. But yes, you got to bump up against leadership, not because you bump up against because you want something better. Imagine, let me just give this example. Imagine if Black folks, our ancestors, didn't bump up against the damn system, we wouldn't be free. So for people who say go along to get along, or stay with the status quo, or be patient, or wait, no, some things you can't wait for.
Yeah, well, so that's an interesting point here, and that's that people who are in this position may know some stuff that we don't necessarily know. Logically, if I was to judge whether this is the moment to do forced Medicare for all bill, I would say yes. There's no better time. This is the time, and this is how we build a movement. This is how we build political capital, not how to spend it. And this is how we keep the momentum of progressives going. If they have other information, and what gives me pause is that none of the progressives yet has picked up on that, and I don't think all of the progressives that are in Congress are not progressives or sellouts or whatever people like Jimmy Dore are claiming. I don't think that's the case. I've followed them. I know what they're saying. I know what Bernie's saying. I see how he's fighting on other fronts. I don't think these are people who are pretend progressives. So that's the only thing that gives me pause. But I think that it's still from perspective of what the public should support. I think we should push for a forced vote on up and down on Medicare for all.
Yeah. Okay. My take from this is which seems to be a little defendant of the House representatives. Of course, Nina Turner, and we know her, and of course we love her for trying this. She is trying to keep the movement unique together, and she doesn't want that the progressive movement gets split up over this. But you can also see how she is torn from one side to the other side. I'm pretty sure that in the background there are talks in which she contacted people and said and told them, because she said this repeatedly, that the people should know who are they serving for. And I think it's a clear hint. She cannot use the direct language at this point, I think, because, as I said, she's in the first place not elected yet, and she doesn't want to take over the new mama bear role. I think in the House once she's elected into it, but of course she will influence it. But I think if you look back at the history, the achievements, and of also what the achievements for the Black community concerns, there was always a certain amount of force in it. I don't know. I'm not meaning violent force, but there was, in every movement there was a push, and in every movement there came the point where in the most cases the elected representative kind of cave in, that they had no other choice to follow the will of the people. So you got to push for this, and if you need to scream from the top of your lungs for justice, for Medicare for all, there is no one who should blame you for this. There was a post on one of our videos. We were talking about this. There was someone addressing that she was in general for Medicare for all, but she said that Jimmy would destroy this, and she hated Jimmy anyway. And that's the point where we should leave the discussion, because it is not the messenger, it is the message, and the message was clearly taken out. Look at the videos of Joy Marie Mann, look at the videos of Charles Denoyer, look at Amy Villella, look what Jimmy Dore said, ask all the people in your neighborhood maybe who are confronted with this situation, how they are feeling, how they are doing. And it makes even more it doesn't make even more sense to oppose this if you look at the statistics, which say that nearly 60% of the American families have someone in the family with precondary how is it called,
existing conditions.
Pre-existing conditions. 60% of the families are already confronted with this problem. So everyone knows someone who has to pay horrendous amounts of money for medication you can get in other countries for much lower prices. You cannot accept this anymore.
Marcus, I think it goes back to ego, and there's lots of it all around. Like it's and when I say that, I'm not just pointing at Cenk, I'm pointing at Jimmy Dore, maybe even more so. I'm pointing at others like Nico House. Ego, unfortunately, is spoiling the broth, and they're like taking positions that are just oppositionary or aggressive for the point of it. They're not. There's no strategy in it. They're not achieving anything by alienating people. And the example is clear when Cenk is talking about Jimmy Dore getting rich off his propaganda. Then it's a direct response to Jimmy Dore's accusation of the Young Turks for raising money during this period and stuff like that. So unfortunately, we gotta look beyond the egos. We gotta look at the strategy. We gotta look at the goal, and we're gonna act as one, and not our like I said before, our goal is to achieve a critical mass in Congress with progressive-minded people. There's no pure progressive. There's progressive-minded, and the more people you have on that scale to push down on these policies, that the better we are. So.
Yes,
I don't think those are fake progressives, Kevin. I think they're progressive. They may different strategy. They may consider things that we may not know. They may be on the wrong. They may think strategically wrong. But nevertheless, I don't think they're fake. We've seen them run, we've seen them act in other situations, and you have to look at the whole picture, not just.
Okay, from what we are seeing so far, I got to address this, because the accusation, against Jimmy Dore that he would get rich over it. I can tell you something, if what Jimmy Dore initiated with Force the Vote brings Medicare for all, I give a fuck how many millions he makes.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
agree.
it doesn't
I agree,
matter
but
at all.
my point was that they're both making counter accusations against each other on personal ego level, not.
I know, and I said it before. It doesn't matter who the messenger is. You can completely exclude it. Just listen to the people. Listen to Joy Marie. Listen to Scott. Listen to all of them.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
agreed.
what Jimmy. Well, if you don't like Jimmy Dore, it doesn't matter. It is the time. The time must be now for you. And I'm sitting here in Germany, and I'm crying tears, seeing what's going on over there, and there are people in America who are trying to appease this, and this is why I don't like Cenk Uygur. I don't like his message. He is completely wrong. And the problem is, and I talked with my girlfriend the last night. I think the real problem is, if you compare the situation here in Germany, someone would come up and say, okay, from tomorrow on, we are introducing the American healthcare system. Can you imagine what would be going on here? We would start a rebellion, a revolution. And the problem is that you in America never experienced what it means to have something like Medicare for all. That's the problem. Once you have enjoyed this or have had it, you would never, ever give it away. Never, ever. And this is why you got to finally 2021. The time is now. And no appeasement policy. I say it again. They must feel the pressure. They must feel the pressure. I'm sorry, I see it differently than you, Amos. At this point.
Yeah,
I know that you also are pushing to force the vote, but I think it must happen vehemently. There must be no misunderstanding about what the people want. And the order, what they have to do in the House, must be clear now.
Yeah, but we don't achieve that by shooting in a circular firing squad. It's not going to get it there.
Yes, and what did you achieve since 1883 in comparison to Germany? I don't want to brag about Germany. This is a completely different story, But what happened in the past? In the past, the game was softball. Now let's play with real balls, because it is a thing which is only in favor of Americans. I don't understand those people who are voting against their own interests. This is crazy. Okay, well.
Rose said, "Since when? What did progressives achieve so far?" Well, they haven't. They were not in position where they even could, because it was all in Republican hands up to now. But now is the real test. Now we're going to see whether they can figure out how to leverage their power, their relative power, to achieve popular goals. And again, we're like progressives are a minority in terms of progressives, in terms of voters, but their positions are not a minority. They're hugely popular. Both Medicare for all and other such things are definitely supported even by Republicans. So that's their power, not their relative numbers in Congress. And I think they can leverage that effectively, and we shall see. If not now, I don't know. We'll see very very soon where things are going in the upcoming Congress, in the new Congress. So
yes,
one thing to mention is that if you are in the Washington area, we have they're organizing a 3-day protest starting today, tomorrow, and the day after, before the vote on Nancy Pelosi's speakership, starting at 9 a.m. each day at Spirit of Justice Park in Washington, D.C. So if you have friends who can make it, if you can make it, it's important. What I'm surprised that they have not advocated is calling your representatives. I think that is the most important thing that you can do now, is call their office, talk to a staffer if you can, or leave, even if you need to leave a message. They need to know that the numbers of people who are supporting this vote is significant, is real, and they basically figure out how many calls they get, and they make some sort of a calculation of what that means. And if you are really in favor of that, don't just talk, call.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we gotta move them to get them moved. Right. Yes, Amos, you please take it. What's going on with COVID?
So COVID, as we know, is a success story, not. They basically, where we stand in the U.S. is very depressing. We have gotten a prediction from the CDC that by the time that Trump leaves office, January 20th, they're expecting 400,000 dead. Let that sink in. 400,000 dead by the time that that Trump leaves office, and that's not a minute too soon for me. They've during this administration, they've opposed. They've put people like Dr. Atlas at the forefront of policies regarding COVID, and he's been supporting the approach for natural herd immunity. Just let everything go and have natural immunity kick in. That is finally, Sweden has been adopting this method from the beginning. Now they've openly admitted it was a tragic disaster with tens of thousands more dead in Sweden than surrounding countries. So that's been proven a total idiocy, and that is something that we've been pushing as in the States. So it's no wonder that we are where we are. We have 4% of the world population. The U.S. is roughly 4% of the world population, but in terms of cases and fatalities, we're 20%. So roughly 4 and something times more than the average nation around the world. We're the richest country in the world, so there's just simply no excuse for that. But by far, our immunization program has not gone the way it was supposed to. It has been pretty depressing to see that they set a goal of 20 million. That was first, they were talking about 100 million doses by the end of the year. Then they were talking about 80 million doses, then 50 million doses. Eventually, by December, by the end of December, they said it would be 20 million doses, and they didn't even cover, they covered 2.5 million vaccines so far. So fallen short, significantly behind. Compare that to countries like China and other countries that have rolled out immunization in a far more aggressive way. It's just a shame. We're now number one in world leading the world with COVID. Behind us are Brazil and Russia at the moment. And it's not just the companies' distribution here. It's like 12.4 million doses were sent to states. Out of those states, they were not given any budget. They weren't given any plans. They were just dumped on and let deal with the vaccination distribution mechanism on their own. That is a complete abdication of uh, responsibility by the administration. Now these states that are already struggling and trying to figure out what to do with all the other things like opening businesses and so forth have to also figure out how to disseminate those vaccines. So that's totally the wrong thing to do, and we know also from the transition team that the administration is holding everything secretive. They do not share a lot of the information on the planning and the implementation, which is going to set us even further back. And I can only imagine that is because of personal vendetta on Trump's part. I do not see any reason why they wouldn't share information with the transition team that has to keep rolling with implementation of vaccines. So we're in a very desperate state with COVID, not suitable for a country like the US.
Well, I gotta say, in Germany, it's not much better. We also are in the middle of the second wave, and sorry,
Uh-oh.
it turned out that Germany was a little bit too cautious to buy enough corona and anti-coronavirus doses. And well, if we are going on in this tempo, we will take about 9 years that everyone gets a vaccine. But you know, the Germans, we're working on it.
And yeah, and there's another issue that we haven't discussed, and that is that there is fear in the American public because of politicization of vaccines. So we have all these conspiracy theories and stuff that people think that the vaccine is meant to harm people. And so there is a huge amount of people that are not planning to take the vaccine, and which, if that's the case, if that really happens, we're not going to reach herd immunity, and this virus is going to roll on and continue mutating, and we're not going to be able to uproot it.
Fortunately, the number of COVIDiots is compared to the American situation smaller, and also per percent. But we have them also, you know, and
call them
but I think
COVIDiots.
COVIDiots. I'm sorry,
COVIDiots.
COVIDiots. Yeah, I call them COVIDiots, or we call them COVIDiots. But I think the far majority knows the importance, you know, to get vaccinated, you know, to get things halfway running again. And well, and we don't have to fear this discussion at the moment, at least, because enough are willing, and for the others, well, it's their own decision, and I think the herd immunity at this point will cover them also. We will see.
We have some time, but eventually they have to address the educational aspect as well, make it transparent, have doctors talk to their patients. This has to be a concerted effort because it affects everyone else, not just the people who decide not to take the vaccine.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh God, yes.
Just to cheer us all up, Marcus.
Yeah,
we need that.
well, it is strange, but obviously, Mitch McConnell seems to have discovered the Robin Hood inside himself, because he opposed the $2,000 relief bill, and it was very strange that his argument, and it was not strange. It was cynical to the core. And please show slide 30. We are addressing directly what he said. Article from Politico. Here's a quote of Mitch McConnell. He said, "Borrowing from our grandkids to do socialism for rich people is a terrible way to get help to families who actually need it." Think back a couple of some months ago, a long time already ago. It was April, right? I don't know. I don't have the exact number anymore. How many trillions went into exactly the rich people's pocket? Amos, do you have a number for me?
I think it was 3.4. Well, not directly, but through corporations, 3.4 billion, a trillion. Sorry,
Sorry,
a few
of
zeros.
course. It is, and now he stands there and says, "Oh, we cannot do this because it would favor the rich people in a certain way." Can you imagine?
You're talking about
more...
compared to the tax reform, right? That's what you're referring to. Okay, that was, I
yes,
think,
yeah.
I think that was 1.2 trillion
It doesn't it doesn't
was a
matter
huge amount, right?
in what form they get they as pampered, right? The ass is pampered.
Right.
It is evil to the core, and it's the maximum of cynism I've seen lately, especially in this very young year.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about what should be the card B for today's show, I took the time and sat there and looked into Mitch McConnell's eyes, and I did not see any sign of life in it. In contrary to it, he looks like a complete zombie. And if you listen to him, the impression gets stronger, of course. But can you imagine someone being so cruel, so evil, to deny the American people what they would need the most at this moment? And this is why I said at the beginning of the show, in ancient Rome, they had bread and circus, bread and games. You got nothing.
That's what's so sad about it, is that he is cunning enough to know exactly how to tie things up and destroy the opportunity for good things to happen. And I'll get into it a little in a minute when we get into another segment about the $2,000 check.
Yes. Please run the clip where he stands in the Senate and tells everyone, "No, fuck you. We are going on."
The Senate was supposed to finish legislation securing critical tools, training, and support for America's armed forces. But the junior senator from Vermont had other ideas. Remember, Senator Sanders spent last summer literally trying to defund our military. Not my words, Mr. President, but the title of a piece he published, "Defund the Pentagon, the Liberal Case." Our colleague authored an amendment to strip 10% of funding from our service members and decimate our defense budget. The Russians aren't cutting military funding. China isn't cutting funding. But last summer, Senator Sanders and fellow Democrats, including the Democratic leader, voted to make America unilaterally disarm and cut ours. The left took a break from trying to defund the police to try to defund our armed forces. Their amendment went down in a landslide, but now our colleague from Vermont is again putting political stunts before the needs of our men and women in uniform. Our colleague says he will slow down this vital bill unless he gets to muscle through another standalone proposal from Speaker Pelosi that would add roughly $500 billion to the national debt, which does not align with what President Trump has suggested and which has no realistic path to quickly pass the Senate. Well, as I've said, the Senate will not let our national security be shoved off course, certainly not by senators who have spent years, literally years, trying to gut America's capabilities while our adversaries continue ramping up. The Senate will stay on this important bill until we complete it one way or another. Now let's talk about COVID-19 relief. 4 days ago, President Trump signed the second largest rescue package in American history. The largest one was the CARES Act back in March. Due to this pandemic and our massive response, we now have a national debt far larger than our entire economy for the first time since World War II. But we knew our people needed more help, so Congress just passed another nearly $900 billion in emergency relief targeted to those who need it most. A second round of payroll support to save small business jobs, more unemployment aid, vaccine distribution money, funding for safe schools, and much more. In addition to historic amounts of targeted help at the request of President Trump and his team, the package also included another round of direct checks to households. Whether or not each household needs the help, whether or not their finances have changed dramatically this past year. Yesterday, Secretary Mnuchin announced households should begin receiving these payments as early as today and this week. That is more good news to a lot of people. After Congress.
Yeah, lies and lies on top of it, and one has to. I wish there was political literacy taught in schools, because that would put an end to this ridiculous, cynical use of logic that McConnell and others are using, because it's obvious what he's doing. He tied the $2,000 bill with other bills with other things that Trump has said that he wanted, such as checking, re-examining the votes, because there was accusations of fraud and stuff like that, and some other things that were basically poison pills, and Sanders called him on it, rightfully so. But he's it's ridiculous that he's even like making that point that he's making. It's just unbelievable to anyone who is listening and knows what's going on.
Yeah, and his connection to defund the military, and did he address at any point to the families who would need the relief?
Yeah, and let's remember, nobody was even objecting to funding the military at the level that we're funding, and we're funding the military at the level that's greater than all of the other militaries combined. China is nowhere near our level, and he's saying China is putting more money into the military. We're not even close to the same scale.
No.
So, but we're not. That wasn't even the issue of whether we should or should not fund the military at that level. The question was just holding it up so it's not tied to the aid money, and he twists it in such a way that like we're and also he says that the money would be distributed to people whether they need it or not, which is greatly not true, because it's mean tested. Only people with $75,000 income a year would receive that amount. I mean, a family of 75,000 and down would receive it, and even if that were the case, where have they done anything to make a bill that is more accurately targeting people who do need it? They haven't done anything about it, and it's clear that if this didn't pass, they wouldn't do anything for those people either. So
yes, and it was interesting to see. I checked this yesterday on Twitter that Trump even doubled down on the payment of the $2,000, and I'm very curious, and I would like to ask you, Amos, what do you think? Do the voters in Georgia see through this very, very crazy maneuver? It was acrobatic, like Lindsey Graham does, his contortions act. Do you think they see through this? What is your impression on it?
Hard to say. I would think that more and more people are becoming aware of it, because it's hurting directly their own pockets, and you can make take your, pretend you don't see something, or imagine that it's different if it's not you being hurt directly. But once you're on the cutting block, I think that becomes more apparent. I think it's going to hurt them. I think they're going to lose the 2 Senate seats, and I hope so.
Yes.
And I'm very looking at Ossoff recently. He looks more like he's moving more and more into the progressive aisle. And I know that also Warnock is also pretty progressive sounding. I'm hoping that we get those 2 senators.
Yes, we will see where it leads. For the Biden administration, it would be helpful to say it at least. To have this Senate on its side. Yeah, it's going to be interesting in so many ways, and yeah. Okay, let's address the last topic. No, it's not the last topic. Yeah, let's see who are the most admired people in the US right now. And it is
Oh boy.
really, really, Donald Trump. Okay, this is another tweet. This is from the last segment.
Yes.
This is where I like this one. I like this one because he says if they don't have a death wish, they should go with the $2,000, right? And that he's doubling down, and it's nice to see. And we'll see what's the outcome in Georgia. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see who is that Donald Trump is the most admired person of the year 2020. When I read that, it blew me away. I had to laugh. Right? Absolutely crazy. I don't see where. Oh, it's down here. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I mixed the order. Sorry, I got confused. It was your turn right now to take over. Sorry, Amos.
No. Go ahead.
No. Go on, because it's your turn. It's the fight over the 2,000 check, and you got here the HR 6395. I completely overlooked it. Sorry.
Yes. So that's an issue that is important to point out. They had a vote that was basically attempting to overturn the veto that Trump put on the entire bill and the military bill within that. So they voted to overturn that veto, and this was the opportunity where and Bernie Sanders, rightfully so, that he knew that it was important for McConnell to pass that for the military's spending bill, and so he put this as a condition for doing that vote. And most Republicans, of course, sided with McConnell, but surprisingly, also most Democrats sided with O'Connell to overturn that veto. They should have supported Bernie Sanders. This is the opportunity to force McConnell to set that up and down vote on the $2,000 check and expose the truth of everybody's position on it. They have not done that, and shame on them. And among the people who did vote, I circled there, I don't know if you can see it, but Markley and Markey and Warren and Sanders, of course, and some other Booker, surprisingly, also Brown, Wyden. They're all voting nay, and they should be commended on that. I think it's important to state when people are stepping forward and doing the right thing. Who didn't join those progressives?
I also see there's someone from Texas, a Republican.
Yes, Howley was some Republicans did too, for the wrong reason, like Cruz, and they of course their reason was the opposite. So I didn't highlight them, but who didn't join into that crowd of progressives, do you think?
From senators.
Yes.
Oh, let me see. Warren is in it. Bernie is in it.
All right.
Who do I miss?
I'll tell you. It was Harris. She was the one originally proposed.
Come on, you're misleading or gaslighting me.
She was originally the one who proposed the $2,000 check, surprisingly. But then when it came down to it, to fight on that and to condition this by blocking this one, she caved, and this is so indicative, so typical to how the Democrats are acting right now. It's unfortunate. And Schumer, where's Schumer on that?
Stepping forward and stepping back is a trademark move. Remember Medicare for All when she once full-mouthedly said she would support it, and then 1 hour later she was standing on a stage, and cringeworthy, trying to explain herself why she's not.
And if people were politically literate and could just read through this, these people like Schumer and others who are talking on the one hand, and then when it comes to action, they're not doing those things, would probably lose their positions. But we have to wait for that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Waiting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think you should go on with the Andrew Hill story.
That's a sad story. Another black male that was gunned down seconds after a policeman appeared on the scene. There was a disturbance of peace. It was a lot of noise that people were complaining about. Policeman showed up, shot this guy, and he claimed there was a gun. That the guy pointed the gun at him. Female policeman said there was no such thing, and also they could not find the gun. The guy did not have his body cam on, and once things happened, once he shot him, then he turned the camera on. Now what happens, and he probably did not know of that, what happened after he turned the camera on, it records backwards 60 seconds. So it keeps recording video without voice, but when you turn it on, it grabs those last 60 seconds. So we have 60 seconds of silent video that was captured before he turned it on, which shows what happened. And this guy who shot him, he was removed from office, but of course that doesn't mean anything. We've seen people in Breonna Taylor's case, none of them has yet paid any price personally, except for losing their officer's position up to today. So that's what happened to him. His name is Adam Coy, and there was a citizens complaint report previously about him for assaulting someone and smashing their head repeatedly onto a police car, onto the deck of a police car, and such a person should not be even in the force. So let's see what happened. Sorry, that's the... At this point, the guy already shot, and now he's turning his camera back on.
Put your fucking hands out to the side. Hands out to the side now.
You can see the guy lying on the floor, already shot, and he's giving him commands to turn around and do whatever. Guy's like,
yeah,
unresponsive.
Hey, don't get fucking close. I can't see his fucking hand. Get your hand up from underneath you now. We got a medic coming. Don't move, dude. Roll over, dude.
Painful to watch. It just, It's hard to even know what to say about it. It's tragic, and it keeps happening. The guy, kind of what he did is he stumbled out of the garage, probably drunk or whatever. He was holding a cell phone in one hand, showing the cell phone to the policeman, and his other hand was in his pocket. And of course, that's where the policeman's instincts just, he immediately assumed that the guy was going to shoot him or had a gun, and we don't know that for sure. But was he not black? Maybe he wouldn't have assumed that right away. It just keeps happening, and we're not seeing the end of that. Police reform cannot come any sooner.
Yeah. Like so many other things, right?
It's tragic.
Yeah. It's unneeded, you know. Yeah. We discussed this topic about police and police education and psychology very often, and it's always the same. It's always the same. And wow. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. I teased this already. Donald Trump is the most admired person in 2020. Crazy, huh?
I don't know. I don't know where people are at. Like, how could you even consider, even if you agreed with some of the policies or whatever, how you could admire this person? Something's wrong with Americans.
For what? For what? You know, and let's have a look at the list at slide 44. Look at the first three names, and there you see your past history starting in 2008, right?
Yep.
Trump, Obama, Biden. Most admired man in the year. What did those most admired men did for you, for the American people, since at least 2008? What did they achieve? Why are they admired? And why is Jeff Bezos not in it? No, really. I don't get it. I don't get it. Right? You are right. I cannot say I don't have an explanation. You guys got to give me an explanation why he's ranked first.
Maybe it's the Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, I did not consider this. Maybe yes, maybe. Yeah. Let's leave it like it is. It's crazy. But let's look at the women. It's also very interesting who we got there. Okay, Michelle Obama. All right, if you think, okay. But then, bam, 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 Kamala Harris comes in second. Isn't that cool? That your future president is also one of the most admired women in the world in 2020. Cool, huh? Let's see who else in this. Oprah Winfrey, Angie Merkel. It's the last year for Angela Merkel
you
in
jumped
Germany.
over Melania Trump.
Yes, Melania Trump, yeah. Yeah, okay. But Angela Merkel, last year for her in Germany. In autumn, we will have elections. We will have a new government, at least with a new leading figure. And then she should be out of this list for the next year already. Maybe a good chance for Hillary Clinton to get one rank. I don't know.
I don't even know what this means. It's just so.
I think it refers to. I think they survived different media, and it's the percent of mentioning over the year or something like this, you know. And otherwise, it makes no sense that Amy Coney Barrett is in it, right? Or Amy Coney. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
And
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg, I
Greta
can't believe
Thunberg.
that Greta Thunberg is on the 10th position. Is it the 10th position?
Yes. Yes. No, number 10. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It
She
was
should be on
a
the
difficult
first
year.
one.
A difficult year for Greta Thunberg because, of course, she
Yeah.
could not show the presence she did in the past years, and she could not mobilize people because I think those people who are following Greta Thunberg and her perspective on the future of the world, they are at minimum half-witted enough to stay home and not to join any crowds at the moment, right? Yeah. Yeah, crazy elections, crazy numbers, at least what the men concern, and well, let's see what the next polls next year bring, and let's have a look at the satire roundup. Or do you have anything to add, Amos?
No, that's it. I agree with Melissa's comment. Vomit.
Well, okay, this is short and pregnant. Thank you, Melissa H. All right, let's see. Let's go out with the old and in with the new. Yeah, we will see how long it takes America, and how long it will take Germany to get the people vaccinated.
Let's see
We'll see.
the third world countries, how do they get out of that? Because even in spite of COVAX, things are not looking very good with the industrialized countries grabbing like all the vaccines to vaccinate their populations 3-4 times over. And if it wasn't for COVAX, the third world country wouldn't even have what they have. But
it is interesting if you look, for example, to Africa, right? That they don't have such tremendous COVID cases and death rates as we have here in Europe or in the US or in other parts of the world. It can be explained because the population in Africa is much younger than our countries are, and they also have direct many countries in Africa acted very immediate after COVID broke out, because they were experienced what was happening with Ebola a few years ago. This is one point, and they took the measurements which were needed at that time, and so they had not such a catastrophic rate as it was assumed in the first place it would be in Africa, right? They acted in many ways much smaller than we did.
and Julie Love, I think economic racism, no, it doesn't exist, but economic indifference exists, which happens to be racist.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What do we have? Trump golfing, Pence skiing, and you're drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I move to the next one, just to remind everybody, if you guys like the program and what the information we bring here and everything, just share it. We'd greatly appreciate to spreading the message in expanding the channel. That will help us also bring other guests and so forth. So please spread the word. Let's see the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, sunrise in America. 2 suns are rising, right? The new year and the new president. Yeah. 2 suns will cause a lot of shadow, right?
A lot of shadow.
Yeah. 2021 is already fed up watching back at the past year. Yeah. Yeah, 2020 was not. Yeah.
That would scare anybody.
Nothing any time traveler would head for, I guess, right?
Nope.
Yeah. This is where you're coming from, and now the year is fresh, like a newborn baby. It can only get better. Hopefully.
Oh, don't say that.
Hopefully. Knock on wood. Yeah. Lady Liberty is celebrating the new year.
Yep. And that's a couple of tweets here. The American people do not need hope. The American people need money. This is isn't fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
And somebody posted their stimulus check that they got.
Damn, yeah. Yeah, crumbs, as I said.
And this is Bernie.
I love this one. This is so cool.
To all those naysayers and haters.
Yeah. Cool.
One before the last. A blue whale's anus can open to 3.5 feet, making it the second largest asshole in the world, next to Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Well,
damn right.
And finally, we have something from Pornhub.
Oh, cool. Rich man fucks the entire country at once. Yeah, exactly. And it got only 231 downvotes and nearly 700 upvotes.
Oh man.
Okay. Nice.
That is it. That's our roundup for this week.
Yeah. And do you want to tell a little bit about your guest you had this week? Talking about the future energy generation.
Sure, that was actually an uplifting program as opposed to our Saturday programs, which are pretty depressing, I have to admit. But yeah, we had with us Richard Maynard, who is also was also an activist, a Bernie activist. He's very active politically, but he happens to be also an electrician that worked on large-scale projects. Pretty much worked on anything that you can think of, and he lives in New Hampshire. He joined me to discuss the future of energy and the take back. It may have been a little technical in some aspects, and may be more pleasurable to the nerds among you. Nevertheless, it was uplifting to know that all these innovations and developments are happening at an increased speed at this point. We're reaching a point where the economic justification for these solutions is outweighing the negative ones. And even if no politicians intervened, it will take its own course most likely, and we may be able to beat the 1.2 degrees goal of the UN for climate warming, which is not great. It's gonna be pretty devastating on its own, but at least it's something we can survive. But that could happen just with letting things go as is, because those technologies are getting better and better. There's a lot of breakthroughs in all kinds of directions. In the program, we addressed storage, which is the main issue with the renewables, because you create a lot of power during the day, but then at night you don't have it, and you have to put in energy from peaker plants, which are much more expensive, costs you much more to generate that than what if you had like a regular coal or natural gas or fuel generation. So that's a major issue. And we also spoke about the nuclear solution, which is often brought by conservatives as the solution, as the stopgap, which ends up not being the case, and we explained that in the program. So I encourage any of you to look at it. Also, we had previously, there's the runoff elections are happening in a couple of days. So keep spreading the word. This is information that was collected about the two the two Senate races there, and I'm hoping we can educate people as to who those people are and who they're not. So, yep.
Right. Well, I guess we're at the end of the show already, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining us in the new year and for the upcoming shows. And thank you all. Well, we are going out today with a British band, which is already existing since 1988. They are doing they are shoegazers. That's the sound they are making, and it's a follow up from psychedelic rock and stuff like this. And I chose this one because, as we know, YouTube doesn't offer a lot of options to go out with, and I found KEXP, which is a very nice channel you should also check out, which gives a lot of live music, live musicians, and impressions of different music styles. Excellent channel. And as it seems, we are going through this, or do we have any complaints in the past show?
Complaints as to, like, from
YouTube? From
Yeah,
YouTube, yeah.
they routinely block our outro.
No,
but
come on.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
then
there's not much we can do about that.
I was so hopeful that that this was going to go through. Okay, so they will block us today again. Amos has the whole work to unblock us again.
No, they
And
don't
because
block the
Amos-
whole program. What they do now is they block the audio for the segment where you.
All right. Okay. Good. I hope that brings us not into trouble. We are going out with Kills, which I think it was quite fitting. If you listen to the lyrics, you know, it describes somehow in a certain way the situation of the Democratic Party. And this is why I chose this one. Well, thank you all for watching again, and stay safe, stay safe in 2021. See you next week.
Have a better new year.
And a better new year, of course.
Bye.
When it hits the fan, jeopardy crashes the war she waged. When the truth gets served, the game is up, you go down in the next stage. This body's nearly done, and there's nothing more that's left for you. I wanna kill your sound, make the right noise, hit the kill switch. So what do you do when you're not talking over everyone? What do you do when you're not just playing up your own games? This party's nearly done, and there's nothing on you, not a stitch. I wanna kill your sound, make the right noise, hit the kill switch. This party's nearly done, and there's nothing on you, not a stitch. I wanna kill your sound, make the right noise, hit the kill switch. Hit the kill switch. Hit the kill switch. Hit the kill switch. I wanna kill your sound, make the right noise. Hit the kill switch. Thank you.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.